Welcome to MI Magazine Presents Soul, a weekly entertainment show on fashion, arts and culture, mental health, relationships, travel, and food. Our weekly co-hosts are Carla Hill, Dr. Delvina Thomas, and Chef Irie. Now introducing our host, Miss Nikki Jellin.
Hello, everybody, and happy Hump Wednesday. I'm your host. I'm Nikki Says Yellow, Nikki G, and thanks for being our guest tonight. So let's go ahead and shout out our sponsors. So Soul is brought to you by the SWA, Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County, and the AARP. It's also brought to you by the African American Black Alzheimer's Disease Initiative at the John P. Hussman Institute of Human Genomics, University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. If you are someone that is experiencing loss of memory or memory problems, or if you know someone who has those problems, please contact their research team for more info at 877-686-6444. Again, that number is 877-686-6444. So we have a special guest tonight. I'm super excited. I actually first discovered our guest by watching a feature on NBC6 a few months ago. So he is a modern day Renaissance man. He's also the visionary and the creative and the producer of The Sweetest Girl. So basically it's a movie, but there's like some kind of a plot, like some kind of a twist. So you don't want to miss it. So I'll be speaking to Yanatha Desouvre in a few minutes. So don't go anywhere. Now let's go ahead and start our show. So on to my first co-host. She's our mental health advocate and also the host of the Brain Love podcast. So Dr. Delvina, happy Hump Wednesday. How's it going?
Hey, happy Hump Wednesday. Are you ready to take the couch, Nikki?
I'm always ready.
Yes, awesome. So we're having a discussion this evening about relationships. If folks follow me on YouTube, you know that on Thursday of last week, I hosted a relationship panel that included 3 men, 2 gals, and also a co-host. My co-host was a guy because I felt like it was important to even it out, not to have it so lopsided with just a woman conducting the flow. And we had some very interesting points being made. A lot of things were teased out during this hour and a half. It was so very engaging at the end of 90 minutes when I said, okay, guys, we got to shut it down and go. One of the panelists, Mr. 1950, who's out of California, said, no, let's keep talking. So we will be doing a part 2. If anyone would like to see the relationship panel, it's on my YouTube channel, which is Dr. Delvina Thomas, the way DR, then Delvina, THOMAS. And go on, make some comments. If you have questions, feel free to contact me. But I'd like to just go over some of the pointers that we made because they were such good lessons brought before us by the panelists as well as my co-host, who is also a relationship expert. He is a therapist. He does family and marriage therapy up in North Carolina. Besides Mr. 1950 out in California, we had Brandon Chastain, who's out of Philadelphia. He was in New York that day. We also had Wood Gatlin on with us, who's down in Houston. And the 2 ladies were here in South Florida, Natasha Housen and Barika Williams. So we had, we were covered all around the country. So the question is, what's in a relationship? And what do we mean by what's in a relationship? I mean, what's behind a relationship? What goes into a relationship? How do we and why do we conduct ourselves in a certain way during a relationship? And all of the things from your childhood, those are factors, but also the other relationships in your life are also factors in your personal relationships. I'm talking about personal relationships tonight. I'm not talking about the relationship with your boss or with your coworker or with your brother or your sister or your mama or your daddy, but sort of kind of with your mama and your daddy, because your relationship with your mama and your daddy has a lot to do with the personal relationships you will create, the personal relationships that you'll conceive. So next we see, I have this question. What's in a relationship? So his relationship with his mom, his relationship with his dad? And if they don't exist, meaning if these relationships don't exist, how did he fill the gap? Or how did he not fill the gap? That's also the other question. And it doesn't have to just be his, it could be her relationship with her mom and her relationship with her dad. And if there wasn't a relationship between both parents or with one of those parents, how did she fill in the gap? Or how did she not fill in that gap? Because when you don't have a relationship with both parents, a meaningful relationship, it will absolutely affect you later in life until you work through those things. Unless you're being raised by a person who's insightful enough to know that there are certain things you will require more of to compensate for not having these relationships with both parents. And at times, even if it's not your dad, but if it's a stand-in, if it's your uncle, if it's your grandfather, if it's your godfather who takes the place. So it doesn't have to necessarily be your biological father or your biological mother, but you need a stand-in. And then there's another comment I have here regarding what goes into your relationship. How he views his mama, how he views his mother is very important. Ladies, don't you skip this step. If he calls his mother names, if he doesn't respect his mother, this is a reflection of how he will see you, how he'll perceive you, and how he'll treat the relationship. Now, everything is not always or never, but this is a good indication. If he doesn't respect his mama, it's going to be hard for him to respect you, my girl. I'm telling you. This is almost probably in 99.9% of cases. If a man hates his mother and has not been to psychotherapy to work through that, there will be challenges in the relationship because he's missing that integral part. Everyone loves their mother. We love our mothers before we meet our mamas, you know? We get everything from our mamas inside of her uterus, inside of that beautiful body. And so once, we're conceived and once we come out and we're here and our mother is treating us a certain way, that's how we learn to love, is first through your mother. Because a mama's love is unconditional and it means so much in a personal relationship. The next thing that we have to consider, his ability or inability to love. Whoo, child. Now that goes deep. That goes deep because some folks did not learn how to love. Some people don't understand the meaning of love. They never learned it. If you don't know how to love because you didn't learn how to love growing up in your household, growing up in the family, how will you learn? How will you love someone in a relationship? And let's back up. Let's start with you. If you didn't learn how to love yourself and how to say good things to yourself and how to say things that matter to yourself, how can you do it for another person? So if you didn't learn to love yourself first, if you didn't learn how to love your mother and your father and your brothers and sisters and all these things unconditionally, it'll make for a difficult time in your personal relationships. And there's so many other aspects, but those are the main ones. And I'll talk about the other ones next week on the broadcast.
Ooh, that was real deep. You got me thinking about my past relationships, like red flag.
That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, Nikki.
Yeah. So I know you spoke about like mothers, but you didn't really tap into like fathers. So maybe that's another segment coming up.
Yes, exactly. And if you follow me on Instagram, I did a video on Instagram talking about fathers who do not take care of their children, who do not show up for their children and how it affects the children. And I think I was specifically referring to young men, and a couple of mothers got upset that I didn't talk about fathers and their daughters. So I have to do that at some point in time.
They call like daddy issues with women, daddy issues. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Say brain love.
Brain love. We'll see you next week.
Yes, ma'am.
And now on to my next co-host. She's our arts and culture connoisseur, Miss Carla Hill. Happy Hump Wednesday.
Hi, Nikki and MIA Soul. I'm Carla Hill, your arts and culture correspondent and a cancer survivor. It's October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, And on behalf of other cancer survivors, warriors, and thrivers, I want to share some big don'ts when it comes to supporting friends and family who were recently diagnosed or who found the courage to share their health journey with you. A note that I've experienced these scenarios, so I know of what I speak here. The first one is, well, you're too young for breast cancer. Well, what does that mean? My world is crumbling all the way around me, and now you're making me feel bad because I got cancer at whatever age? It doesn't discriminate. Most importantly, when someone shares with you that they have been diagnosed with cancer, don't now remember all the people that you know who've died. We don't need that kind of energy. We need people around us who think and speak life. That is an easy way to get on the blocked and blessed list, even if we are related. But you don't look like you have cancer. That's another one. Well, I guess, am I supposed to grow a third arm out the side of my neck? Plus, being ill doesn't mean that you have to look the part. Cancer survivors and thrivers are usually the most fabulous in the room because we know that saving an outfit for a special occasion just doesn't make sense. Life is the special occasion. Sequins for breakfast. Listen, I remember telling someone I had breast cancer years ago, and they said, well, at least it's the easy cancer. Child, it's never easy. Facing your mortality sucks. Offer to take me to brunch. That's easy. So what should you do? Listen. Call your friend. Check in on them. Offer to take up their errands before, during, or after their treatment. Friendships are important, but sometimes your friend or family member will need to seek help of a licensed professional. There are some good friends and partnerships that we have, but the journey is so individual, and a licensed professional counselor can really help. We can still go to lunch. We're still the same person. We still want to go shopping, but we just need you sometimes to respect our space. And especially important during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, remember to schedule your mammogram or to remind someone you love to do that for themselves. I discovered my first cancer through self-examination, and my second was through mammogram. Listen, prevention and self-advocacy is the best medicine. A shout out to Dr. Kavita Jackson for her inspiration on this list. And until next time, I'm Carla Hill. See you soon, MIA Soul.
So much, Miss Carla Hill. We'll see you next week. And now on to my next co-host. He's a host of Tasty Islands on American Public Television. He's also the host of his show tomorrow night, Flavor of South Florida. So Chef Irie, bloop, 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 wagwan.
What's going on, MIA Soul? Yeah, Chef Irie in the house. Happy Hump Wednesday. And guess what? It's still October. Hey, Nikki, what's going on, girl? Look here. Cocktails are in the house. Yes. So what am I talking about today? We are talking Carnival. This weekend is Carnival weekend. Yes. Miami Broward Carnival kicks off this weekend on Friday. All the way till Sunday, Panorama, Juve, and of course Mass. But of course, I'm not here to talk about the costume and the carnival itself. I'm here to talk about food. So some of the foods I've eaten while I was in Trinidad back in 2011. Yes, I even have one of my flags, left over from Juve 2011. Oh my God, it was an awesome day. I rep my Jamaican flag. Yes, everything was great. And yes, I blew my whistle. Yes. Anyway, first of all, we're going to start with doubles, okay? These are, most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about today are the foods that are, easily eaten in the hand, not necessarily got to go to a restaurant and sit down. So people will be selling them all over the place, at the restaurant. So doubles, this is, two lightly fried flour, dough, people might call them tortilla, what have you, and they are stuffed with chana, chickpeas, and served with condiments like tamarind, yes, and hot pepper sauce. And this is so delicious, and this is one of the staples of Carnival. Whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock noon, you gotta have you some doubles. So one of the other things that I ate while I was in Trinidad in 2011 for Carnival, while I was walking around the savannah, is chicken foot sauce. Look at, man, I haven't eaten chicken foot since I left Jamaica, and I said, you know what? Now that I'm a chef, I'm gonna have me some chicken foot sauce. Look here, girl. I almost, I chowed them toenails. Oh yes. Okay, they took off the toenails, but them toes and that chicken foot, that pickled brine, the water for the sauce, full of pepper, full of flavor, full of cumin, full of onion, garlic. Oh my God, and cilantro. This was awesome. So next up, you gotta have you some roti. Okay, make sure you're visiting them roti places. Okay, Sweet Hand Catty, Lalo's, Joy's Roti up there in Lauderhill. They're gonna be having all your any kind of roti, your curry goat roti, your chicken roti, your shrimp roti, your duck roti, your vegetarian roti. Check it out. Have you some roti, man. So I like the roti, with just a paratha shiz. I don't like the dal puri, and the dal puri has, I think it's the split pea that's mixed into the dough. I just love the regular bust up short shell. All right, that's what I like to use on my roti. All right, the next one, I'm gonna check my list. Bigs. All right, you gotta have you something with bigs, okay? Whether it's shark and big or whether it's bourgeois, which is cook up saltfish. So saltfish and big. And what are bigs? Bigs are fried, those small, so when you fry them, they get nice and golden brown and they puff up and they have a nice, void, and you cut them, you slice them down the middle, you put in your shark, your fried shark, your slaw, your cilantro, and your sauces in there, and Nikki, this is so good. You gotta try this, girl. Trust me, it is awesome. Try you some big. All right, good. Next up, we got pepper chow and Plury. Now these are nice and easy, and they're small. Pepper chow, obviously you can make any kind of chow, whether it's cucumber pepper chow, you can make it with June plum, you can make it definitely, like I said, with watermelon, all kind of stuff, but it's peppered, vinegared, cilantro, spices on this, and you just eat that, in a container, walk around with your fork or with your hands. Boom, the Plury. This is a soft fried dough made from split pea flour and regular flour, and of course, your cumin and other spices. And if you ever wanted to make Plury, it's a nice, cool technique with the hand. Check out our YouTube video. And the last two things I want to talk about is corn soup and pilau. Why leave these two for the last? Because usually at the end of every, fete, when you go to fete, man, you're hungry, you're drinking, you're drunk. Oh, yeah, you're drinking and you're drunk. Corn soup is like the thing that you're gonna have to pick you up, okay? And nice and flavorful, and basically this could be your tide over probably to the next party. And of course the pilau, made with rice, with browned chicken, coconut milk, and gandules or pigeon peas, gunga peas in Jamaica, coconut milk. Awesome stuff. So these are some of the foods that I've eaten during Carnival, and these are some of the foods that you guys should try during Carnival this weekend. So if you're coming down from Miami, Boston, Connecticut, all in places, even across the pond, and you're going to be here in Miami this weekend, have a great time. Enjoy the foods of Carnival. So that's me. One more time, baby. Yes, I'm ready for the road. Masqueraders, be safe out there. Hopefully I'll see you Juve Saturday morning. Peace out, baby. Peace out. Yes.
I want to say the doubles and the dal. Oh my God, those are like so good. And the bake with the shark, I've had that, chef. I've had that. Real good. All right, so we'll see you next week, Wednesday. And now on to our featured guest. And I want to start by saying secrets can be dangerous. So our guest, he is a poet, author, musician. He's also the producer behind The Sweetest Girl. And I think I'm going to butcher his name. I've practiced before, but Yanatha Desouvre. Did I say, oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Oh, I got it right.
Nikki G, thank you for having me. So you had it half right? So Yanatha Desouvre.
Yanatha.
But it's okay. I'm grateful that I'm here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing us aboard. And it's interesting when you talked with the doctor earlier about relationships. The Sweetest Girl is about relationships and how secrets can be dangerous. So.
Oh yeah, I watch a lot of Fatal Attraction. on TV1. So I don't know if you know that show, but all right. So let's get right into it. So tell us a little about your background.
So I was born in Haiti, raised in Brooklyn, New York, and Philadelphia. And growing up at the age of 5, I experienced xenophobia. And then they told me, Haitian, go back to your nation. Then at the age of 7, my Sunday school teacher was shot and killed. But then at the end, which was crazy, at the age of 9 in Brooklyn, New York, the 80s crack era, I survived a barbershop shooting. That really affected me, right? You talked about mental health earlier, and as one of your sponsors. And my parents were like, oh, we got to leave Brooklyn. This is crazy. So we go to Philadelphia. And then what happened there, my red carpet welcoming was red tip crack bottles. Isn't that crazy, Nikki G?
Wow.
But when I came to the United States, I didn't know I was Black until I came to the US. And then watching news as a young Black male, I was told I was going to die before 21, which is crazy. Nikki, do you remember ever having an AOL password? I mean, an AOL account back in the day?
I remember the dial-up sound, yes.
Right? So what was crazy is that my first password for AOL, capital DIE, uppercase B421, exclamation point, die before 21. But that all changed. Why did that all change? Wyclef Jean. He sang in my church before he became a Fuji. And then when he became a Fuji, he threw Haiti on his back. And so from then on, I became intentional about he reminded me of and being Haitian, who we were and why we existed. And so my background is in faiths and the arts and education and so much more.
Wow. Well, so I'm Jamaican. You may not hear my accent or my dialect. It's a little gone a little bit. But when I first moved to Florida, I was teased a lot, and they called me Jamaican booty scratcher. So the same kind of experience you went through, I went through that as well. And we've come a long way as far as being Black Caribbeans. So Now, when did you discover your passion in like the film industry?
Well, I'm still in it, right? I just got into it, which is kind of crazy because I got into filmmaking. Gosh, what year is this? 2021?
2021,
yeah. 2019. Why? Shout outs to my big brother, my brothers, Harry Jedi, which is the executive producer of The Sweetest Girl and co-screenwriter, and Samuel Aduster, the director of The Sweetest Girl and producer as well. Those two guys are my brothers of 30 years. So one thing that saved us from the streets was growing up in church. But even then, growing up in church, that didn't protect us from the bullies and whatnot. So Harry and Sam did an amazing film called A Great Day in Harlem. And then I wrote a book, my second novel, which is Revelations Roads to Redemption, right? This is the book here. It's available on where all books are sold. I asked Harry, have you ever thought about doing an adaptation of a film, of a book for a film? He says, nah, but we're Haitian, we're from Brooklyn. He said, why not? Let's try it. And so we started writing well, first it was jury duty. I used Microsoft Word and started doing the template for the screenplay. Then I said, Harry, I need help with this. And Harry chopped it down, make it well. And then long story short, we did encounter some stuff, but we shot the film in the pandemic last year. Now our short film is a 9-time award-winning short film, getting Oscar 22 buzz. So 2022 buzz, which is exciting. So I'm passionate about being able to.
That's the first one that you've written and produced?
This is the first film I've co-written and produced, yes.
Wow. I'm curious about it. So, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and play the trailer before my next question.
Okay.
I don't keep secrets from you.
It's affecting our marriage, Lucius. I feel like you're holding something back from me. There's something you're not telling me. Secrets can be dangerous.
Okay, so tell us about the inception of The Sweetest Girl.
So inspired by true events. So The Sweetest Girl is a compelling and provocative love story set in Haiti, haunted by human trafficking and gun violence. It's about a loving marriage of 25 years that comes to a deadly end when a husband is compelled to tell his wife his most heart shattering secret on her deathbed. So inspired, sadly, 1996, my aunt in Haiti, the only aunt that didn't make fun of my American accent when I went to Haiti in the early 90s,
Yeah.
to sort of see family and get my papers and become a citizen later on, she sadly became a victim of gun violence. And so I didn't know how to, as a creative, it's weird. Now that I'm married with 4 little ones, I cry every day. But before that, I never really cried. I had to find a way to express my emotions. And so from the from the surviving the barbershop shooting to my aunt dying, and the prequel that I'm writing with my Sunday school teacher being shot, I incorporate these real life events into my fictional world of the Goodman Chronicles. So this book is the second book. The Goodman Chronicles series has been identified as, or called, James Bond meets Idris Elba's Luther, mixed with Mission Impossible, X-Men, and a dash of Haitian hot sauce. So it came from real life events, which we put real life and emotions in the story.
So is it like 100% like nonfiction, or is it like a mixture of both fiction and nonfiction?
It's a mixture of both. So the true events is my aunt being shot in the film. And so one of our main characters, shout out to Sandra Justice. She plays the Margaret Goodman, which is an AP journalist from in Haiti, trying to seek not only truth in Haitian politics, but also truth in her marriage. Shout out to Genji Jacques, the man known as dubbed the Haitian Denzel. Both actors are in Fort Lauderdale. He plays the role of Lucius Goodman, a tormented yet talented lead detective in the Haitian police force.
So I see. So when I looked at the plot, the description, it did mention like gun violence and sex trafficking. Those are the 2 main words that popped out. Is that like a really major issue happening right now in Haiti? As to why you to
it is
talk about it?
It is human trafficking, right? You think about some Haiti. So thank you for asking, Nikki. Haiti and other parts of the world where there's some families that are so objectively poor, they sell or give away their children to other families for a better life or education. When I went to Haiti, I saw like my poor, middle class, and wealthy family all had this staff, or not even staff you pay them. But in Creole, it's called reste avec, where they stay with you, right? It's called stay with. And like the person was ironing my shirt for me. I'm like, wait a minute, I could do this myself. Why are you doing this for me? But in a lot of cases, situations like that could leave 80% of the time it's set up for domestic, physical and emotional and sexual abuse in those homes. And so we don't hit people over the head with this topic, but we do talk about that in the film. And it just doesn't happen just in Haiti, but it happens, everywhere. And think about the Haitians that were in Texas, right? They recently, the 16,000 Haitians that were in Texas, 2,000 of them were sent back to Haiti. A lot of them weren't in Haiti for 10 some odd years. What are they going to do with their children? They're going to fall into that trap of giving their kids for a certain amount of money to a system that's, from slavery time. And so that has to change. And so we talk about, we highlight that in our story. The Sweetest Girl.
Wow, yeah, it does exist. I mean, it's there. And I'm glad that there's more awareness being brought about that situation and circumstance. Are there any organizations or any way that we can become more involved with that? Or maybe we can visit your page and see, like, I don't know how deep you are in with that type of human rights, circumstance, but it'll be really good to like tell our viewers how we can become involved and just kind of participate or help spread the word. And
well, go visit www.yanatha.com. So that's yanatha.com. And I do have links to some places, some individuals that do some amazing things. The La Cente neighborhood, I think the center, women's center I think it's outside of Little Haiti. They do a lot of bring a lot of people that have been victims of human trafficking. And also, I think his name is Ron. I forget his name now, but Ron does amazing things where he talks about human trafficking and how because he's a bailiff and has seen a lot of that happen in the court cases, specifically in Florida, because we're a hub for that, right? But it happens a lot in other different places, like in the middle of the country. You would never know. Someone to your left or to your right has been trafficked, and you would never know.
You'll never know. Wow. Well, thanks for shedding light on that. And so how can we watch, or where is it being screened, The Sweetest Girl?
Great question. So right now, shout outs to the Newark Short Film Awards, Matt Williams. So Newark, New Jersey, this Saturday, we're going to be screened at the Newark Film Awards. If you go to filmfreeway.com and go search for Newark Short Film Awards, you'll be able to get your tickets to screen it there. But right here in South Florida, next week, October 14th, Thursday, there's a gala happening at the Palm Beach Film Festival at Wellington. So it's about an hour and a half from Miami, but it's going to be opening night on Thursday. Our film will be screened. So starting at 6 p.m., come to the gala, stay for the screening, and there will be a conversation and a talk back about that as well. So that's next Thursday, and then we have in the next couple of months we'll be screening in Central Florida, Synfest. Shout out to Enoch Dorshton and Hollywood Florida Film Festival, November 6th, and also Peachtree. And if you're in the Atlanta area, Peachtree Village International Film Festival, that's happening October 21st. So for more information, again, go to www.yanatha.com and you'll see all the screenings that are there.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm in Florida, so the Wellington one sounds real good. Okay.
Awesome.
So what is your take on the representation of Black and brown people in the film industry?
We need more of it. And we need more authentic representation, right? You have representation, sometimes the token brown or Black person. You have the stereotype, something I think Jaleel White mentioned about Family Matters. Used to love watching Family Matters, but he mentioned that in the back, the writers weren't Black. They were white writers writing for Black people and writing things and words for how Black people spoke, and it didn't really make sense, right? And so our film, The Sweetest Girl, we became intentional. Again, shout outs to like the book. Each title of from this book, Revelations Road to Redemption, it's set in Philly and Miami, is a Wyclef or Fuji song. So before the Fugees reunion happened this year, in 2018, it happened in this book. So we became intentional about having a Black Haitian writer, Black producer, Black composers. So shout out to, again, 9 awards. The awards came with the best composers. Shout out to Daniel Bartley Jr., who's in Palm Beach. Shout out to Janice Michelle Mueller, our violinist. She was the first Black female composer that I know of, and she's an award-winning film composer. Our makeup artist was Black. Our hair person was Black. They won best hair and makeup. Our costume designer was Black. It was beautiful. Even our catering was Black. We had Jamaican food Saturday, Pollo Tropical, Black and brown food, Haitian food Thursday. We just kept it all internal, and it was a beautiful thing. And we felt safe. We were committed to keep our cast and crew safe during the shooting of the film in the middle of the pandemic. We shot in Florida and Miami and also in West Palm.
I know. How was that? Like, were there like a lot of restrictions or, because last year, everything basically shut down last year. So how did that work out?
Nikki G, oh my God. Here's my philosophy for everybody. Focus on what you can do versus what you cannot do, right? We had original time to shoot the film. Like we started casting in March of 2019. That is when everything went, oh my gosh, right? March of 2020. That's when everything started shutting down. Yes, we started casting in March of 2020, and like, whoa, what happened? Like maybe 1 or 2 people that came to the live casting made it to the film. 60% of our casting was done through Zoom. So we focused on what we could do versus what we couldn't do, and we our budget tripled in cost because we had to have on-site testing, an on-site doctor, on-site nurses, and the cleaning and all of that. So we had the producer hat, but I was also the cleaner. Harry and I were dishwashers when we were younger. We were on our knees, wiping every seat, spraying everything, spraying people's feet. It was crazy. But we did it because we wanted to tell an authentic and real story. Because, like I mentioned before, when I mentioned my pastor would die before 21, when a young person sees this film, they'll Google Yanatha Desouvre, they'll Google Presca Millions, they'll Google Patricia Desimore, and they see that they're Black. It's like, oh my goodness, like if I like to make clothes, I can make clothes for a film too. If I like to make music, I can make music for a film too. And they will never have to think of that dying before a 21 password ever. And that's the reason why we did the film. Win an Oscar or not, doesn't matter. It's about the next generation and empowering them to look and find the light within themselves to tell authentic and real stories.
Wow, that's so powerful. And another thing is there's a lot of like third and fourth generation Caribbeans living in the United States.
Yep.
Haitian, Jamaican, Bajan, Bahamian. And it's just kind of good to see those stories because it speaks to us, you know? And I know a lot of generational Caribbeans, there's like a identity crisis that we kind of face with trying to fit in and acclimate to our environment at that time. And you experienced that because you mentioned when you go back home to Haiti, your aunt was the one that she was more open to you sounding American, even though you're Haitian, you know? So there's that identity thing with not sounding how you're expected to sound born in a certain country. So just seeing that kind of artistry depicted in your movie and speaking to not just Black and brown people, but Caribbean people, like it's another level of speaking to our people. So applaud to that and thanks for inspiring.
Thank you. It's bigger than me, right? It's bigger than us.
Yeah.
It's about the next generation. So
yeah, it's definitely big. Yeah. So what's next for Yanatha?
What's next is we're going to continue making films, right? I also gladly serve as a faculty of entrepreneurship at Miami-Dade College, Wilson campus, and there's some amazing things that are happening at the campus. We have amazing partnerships with FIU, MDC, and SoftBank, where a lot of our students are participating in real life things, thinking as entrepreneurs and things. So that's one side of me, right? But the next project we're working on is we're committed to getting Garcelle Bouvet, J.B. Hector, and a few others to do our next thriller, Flatbush. Flatbush is a coming of age story about how Haitian Americans were in 1990 were dealing with xenophobia, how we're dealing with xenophobia in 2021, right? So where the FDA was blaming HIV/AIDS, like our blood was infected with HIV/AIDS in certain parts of Africa, which wasn't true. So we had to fight back and against xenophobia, against disinformation, which is now again 2021. And so we literally protested on the Brooklyn Bridge, shaking it, right? Like a foreshadowing of the earthquake that happened in 2010 and just a few months ago. That story is a story of coming back and resilience and finding a sense of self-worth and dignity again and going against the odds. And that's the David and Goliath story. We all face that. And you had talked about this, Nikki G, about how we are, all come from Africa, but we all came off of different boats. I tell people July 4th, 1776, yes, that was an Independence Day, but not every man, woman, and child were free. Do you know where every man, woman, and child was free, where the first truly independent nation was?
Haiti.
January 1st, 1804, when we declared independence from France, every man, woman, and child were free. And that echoed all over the world. So when Juneteenth happened, that's an echo of 1804. Where the Louisiana Pursuit, that's an echo of 1804. Venezuela, Colombia, an echo of 1804. And that echo still resonates. A lot of people don't like that echo because it hurts their ears. But it's all right. We keep it moving. We keep building. So I'm grateful to be alive and keep building from there.
And keep telling your story. Keep telling our story.
It's our story.
So what would you tell your younger self and how old would you be?
Oh my gosh. Going back to 5 years old, right? When they said Haitian, going back to your nation, that they had a HBO. I'm like, I don't even have cable. What does that mean? I'll go back and tell my younger self that, remember, embrace what sticks out about you. It's those that embrace what makes them different that makes a difference in people's lives. see, IT means lands of hills and mountains, right? So you have days when you're high on that mountain, and then you have days when you're in those valleys. But it's in those valleys where you have a moment, if you choose to reflect and get that strength to climb back up to that mountain. So days are going to be high, days will be low, but never forget who you are. Never forget from where you come from. And remember, with those things instilled in you, you'll be able to overcome and deal with anything that comes your way.
Wow. And the thing is, that was at 5. You said 5 years old.
Yeah.
So that experience definitely left an impression, a permanent impression. Because I don't know how old you are right now. I'm not going to ask you, but at 5 years old. So back then, whatever happened, whatever you experienced back then, it definitely left such a huge impression on you to want to make a change and make a difference. So again, thank you very much. And so again, The Sweetest Girl, visit www. and it's Yanatha, it's YANATHA.com. It's at the bottom scrolling. We can find you on Instagram at The Good Man Chronicles, and also the short film is on Instagram at The Sweetest Girl Short Film. So thank you so much again for being our guest. Very inspiring. And yeah, we'll see you in Wellington next week.
We'll see you in Wellington next week. Linky G, thank you for having me. Shout out to all the cast and crew of The Sweetest Girl. Thank you all for joining us and being able to tell the story. So then you can tell your story, and we inspire others to live the best lives that we can. So
That's all we can do. Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
And everyone, please watch our MIA Media Group shows, okay? And here's the breakdown. So Mondays is The Business of Black Business at 1 p.m. with Jay Reynolds. Tuesday is My Money, Your Money at 7 p.m. with Bridget Lumpkins. And then Wednesday is your girl, Nikki G. Nikki Says Yellow Soul at 7 p.m. And then Thursdays is Lunch with Legacy Leaders at 12 noon with Anne-Marie Serral, and also with Chef Irie with Flavor of South Florida at 7 p.m. So again, thank you so much. Visit MIA Media GRP on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks again, and y'all have a good night. Bye.